Ladies and gentlemen, welcome, welcome, welcome. We are so excited to be here with you today. Welcome to our IX Global Driven Trading Overview. My name is Travis Flaherty, and I am here with my good friend, Mr. Cory Kromray. Cory, what's up, my brother? How are you today?
Feeling good, my friend. Feeling good. Life is great. I cannot complain. Family's good, healthy. We got a lot of amazing things happening company-wide, and I'm super excited for everybody who's going to be in attendance tonight.
Yeah, well, what you can expect tonight is to learn a little bit more about this exciting company that we call IX Global that has now become the #1 momentum company in the entire world. So super excited about that. You know, Cory, it's a really interesting time in the world right now. You know, I always say that old ways won't open new doors. And we are facing some pretty complex challenges in the world today. We're looking at inflation rates that many of us have never lived through before.
We're just getting started.
I'm just getting started. You know, I went to a sandwich shop the other day. You know, some of you might know Jimmy John's. It's one of my favorite sandwich shops. I ordered a 6-inch sub, a bag of chips, and it cost me $20 for just a sandwich. So, you know, if you're on this presentation right now, I'm sure that you're probably feeling the pinch with the rising cost of just about everything. But here's the problem, Cory. Are salaries keeping up with the rising cost of goods right now?
Well, I'll tell you statistically, there was actually just a big report that came out this past week from the Fed, and they say actually the average increase in wage per year is about 2 to 3%. If you're in your prime earning years, that means if you have tenure in your situation, you're probably not seeing that at all because you're so replaceable. So it's a very, very scary times that we're living in.
Well, and typically what happens anytime that we see, you know, rising costs going up so quickly, but salaries aren't keeping up is we start to see people going into debt. And the consumer debt rate right now, from my understanding, is as high as it was during the Great Depression. And so now people become a slave to that debt. And that's really what we're here tonight to talk about is to provide some different solutions and alternatives and approaches to be able to teach people, number one, how to get out of debt. And also, you know, I would dare say, Cory, that, you know, financial illiteracy has to be one of the true epidemics in the world today. Would you agree?
I mean, I would agree. You know, I mean, you would think that as times change and we're moving into this digital age with AI and robotics and, you know, the scarcity of jobs and how they're going to be disappearing over the years, you would think that by now they would be at least teaching you how to balance a checkbook. And as far as I know, they haven't changed the Soviet conveyor belt method of education that I call it, right? Pump 50 kids in a classroom, give them all the same textbook, expect them to learn at the same rate, the same speed, all that stuff. And then you sit them down with their guidance counselor at 17, say, what do you want to do with your life? And you're selecting from a list of careers with the highest paying career at 6 figures, which isn't even a lot of money anymore. So it's like, you know, you got the cost of living going up and inflation going up, and you're still not taught anything about real world economics, balancing a checkbook, entrepreneurship, and how to actually make money. It's very scary, man. It's really scary. I'm afraid for my kids.
I am as well. And that's why we're here tonight to talk to you about making money, but not just making money, learning how to manage that money is a key skill. You know, I used to be, I'm a but I'm pretty sure that I could spend it faster than just about anybody else that's on this presentation right now. I'm really, really good at it. And so it's one thing to make money, but then it's a totally different skill set to learn how to start managing your money. That's why we're so grateful to have you on tonight, because you're going to be talking about some very unique skills that can teach people how to start managing their own money. And then finally, the ultimate goal, which is to multiply your money. And I have to say that since I've gotten involved with IX Global, I've learned a great deal about those different principles. And I'm very fortunate to be able to be aligned with the owner of the company, Mr. Joe Martinez, who we're going to be chatting about tonight. He's just an incredible gentleman who put this company together to be able to help in all areas. So welcome to the presentation tonight. Let's go ahead and jump right in. Let's pull up our slides here this evening. Now, before we get started, it's very important that you know that I am not a financial advisor. Cory's not a financial advisor, to my knowledge, right? So everything that we share with you here tonight is for education purposes only. We don't offer any guarantees. We're not offering any accounting advice. We're not offering any legal advice. So be sure to do your own homework, do your own due diligence. At the end of the day, we do not promise any guarantee of any income or any particular result from the use of the information contained here within. Under no circumstances will we be liable for any losses or damages caused by the information that's shared here within. So I just want to point that out, get that out of the way. Now, what we do offer is we offer education, we offer software, and we offer hardware. Now, I would say, although that we don't offer any guarantees when it comes to an ROI, I think that the one guarantee that I would throw out there is that there's no better guarantee or on an investment than an investment in yourself. Would you agree, Cory?
I would agree. It's, rung true for me, 16-year-old high school dropout. Proud to say I don't have a high school diploma, but yet I went on to make millions of dollars with self-directed education. And I think that right now we live in an age where information is so accessible. People don't have any excuses anymore. That's all I can say.
Well, do your own research. And of course, getting involved in any financial markets involves risks. But let me tell you something. There's a lot of risks in the world today. Not doing anything right now, leaving your money, I call it lazy money, right? Leaving your money sitting in a bank and not doing anything with it is a risk, right, Cory? I mean, and that's a risk right now, because
you're losing money if you do that.
You're losing money. So there's a lot of different risks. And so at the end of the day, you've got to make sure that you educate yourself. And that's the key. And that's why we're here to do tonight. So with that, let's get into the vision of the company. The vision of the company is to innovate, to inspire, to impact your life. We are focused on inspiring positive change and achievement in people and in communities around the world. We're now in something like 70 countries, hundreds of thousands of members as in part of our community around the world, which we're extremely proud of. The company was founded in 2020. Not a great time to start a company, by the way, 2020, right smack dab in the middle of COVID. Started right in the middle of 2020, and they were able to do 4.6 million in revenue in that first year, which was very respectful. They actually started and launched in India, although they were headquartered out of Salt Lake City. Joe's been in the network marketing industry for 15 years. He truly is one of us. He started the company out of necessity, had been acting as a consultant and spent several years going to India to help this particular company launch there. And so he learned the market very well. And so when the opportunity presented itself, he said, he had some people that he trusted, that he believed in there, and it was an unbelievable market. Going to India is like going to 25 different countries, right? There's so many people there. And so they launched the country, did very well, primarily focused around financial literacy, financial education, personal development platform. 5 million the first year, 22 million in the second year, started to get some accolades, started to get some attention from, Business for Home, started to see in top 3 startups and one of the top compensation plans in the industry today, which is just outstanding. And then in 2022, boom, everything just really came together and took off, finished off at $206 million in revenue, which is incredible growth, incredible momentum. It's exciting to be a part of that momentum because, John Maxwell once said, Cory, that momentum exaggerates everything. It turns the ordinary into the extraordinary. And you're muted on that, Cory. Go ahead and unmute that.
I was going to say, and the ordinary people into extraordinary people, because I've caught those waves of momentum a couple times, and I'll say I got lucky. Momentum makes the average person look unaverage. I'll tell you that.
Well, it's exciting. It's fun to be a part of. And what's really exciting for us is that we truly just launched the company here in the United States in the summer of last year. So we're 1 year old. We really, for all intents and purposes, are just kind of coming out of our pre-launch. And yet, I think that we're the best kept secret in network marketing today. So that's really exciting. We've gone from having a few employees kind of bootstrapping this whole thing when it first started to having over 30 employees now throughout IX Global. We've got an ecosystem that teaches people about financial markets, e-commerce. We've watched the world go from a brick and mortar to a click and order society. Stores that I grew up in, man. I mean, I used to love to go to Toys R Us, right? Like when they announced that was closing, I think that that hurt a little bit, to see that, to watch that closing. But we're seeing that happening over and over again. So everything is moving into this digital era, which is great because even inside of the network marketing industry, Cory, you and I were talking about this last night. I've been watching the trends in the direct selling industry, and we've watched a lot of great product-based companies that are either falling, they're merging, they are struggling to keep up with the high speed, low drag pace of a digital company.
Totally.
And so we're seeing, a lot of the top earners, the top fastest growing companies in the world are all digital companies. And so we have education around e-commerce, blockchain, and NFTs. And blockchain, no question, is changing the world. Of course, culture, community and culture is everything. So community and leadership is present. And then, of course, technology, which we're going to be talking about, and social networking. So let's dive into each one of these for a moment. So Cory, you are the master of financial markets. I don't think I know anybody that's more knowledgeable when it comes to this area. You have helped people around the world. You've run, billion-dollar hedge funds on Wall Street. You've made, all kinds of people tons of money in this area. But here's the question that I want to know is, can the average person really be successful in this area? Can they learn the basic skills to be able to start managing their money? So with that, I'd love it for you to talk to us a little bit about what you do and what the value that you bring to the company.
Yeah, absolutely, guys. So, first of all, I got started in this industry, the direct sales industry, in 2008, as a 16-year-old high school dropout construction worker, working, living paycheck to paycheck, washing dishes for $7.25 an hour on the weekends. I'm nothing special. I don't have a college degree. I don't have college education. Didn't go to school for finance, business, economics, none of it. I am a self-taught multimillionaire trader, portfolio manager at a top 1% grossing portfolio at one of the largest brokers in the world for 4 consecutive years. And I did all of that in a time where education was very scarce. I looked at the industry and I looked at a lot of the noise that was out there, and it was very difficult for me to learn in this time. I got introduced to the financial markets in 2012 from a buddy of mine on the golf course. And, that blossomed into a career that has blessed my family immeasurably, but not only blessed my family immeasurably, thousands and thousands of people around the world. And the reason is because, the skill that I learned, to trade the financial markets, the first thing I identified is, when you look and do research on any person who you would look at as a success in life, right? They teach you how to take your money and put it into investment vehicles that are growing at a rate of, 6 to 8% a year. It's typically your average with your Morgan Stanley's, Merrill Lynch, Edward Joneses of the world, or you put them into a real estate portfolio that does, 8% a year. Well, number one, we don't see that anymore. Last year, $9.2 trillion gets wiped out of the stock market. I don't really even know anybody that had any money with advisor like I talk about that made money last year. In fact, their portfolios are down and say maybe they'll recover in the next 10 years. That type of damage has been done. And what I realize is that in the world of Forex, foreign exchange, in the world of index markets and derivatives markets, this is quadrillions of dollars. And I'm not exaggerating when I say that. Quadrillions of dollars that are flowing through these markets. And you hear terms like hedge funds and private placements, and you realize like a lot of those guys that are some of the richest guys are hedge fund owners and operators or hedge fund traders. And I'm looking at, well, what's the difference between investing in a hedge fund or investing with one of these guys that, I mentioned before? And what I realize is, number one, in order to get invested into a hedge fund, you have to be an accredited investor, minimum $1 million net worth or more, and you have to have a typical minimum investment of $250,000. I know this. I managed one for years, still do today, actually, right? And that's not available for the average person. But those hedge funds, those private placements, those are growing at 8% a month, like no problem. Like, a good hedge fund grows at a consistent 3 to 5% a month. But the good ones, really good ones, grow 8, sometimes 12, sometimes even more per month. Sometimes they do hundreds of percent a year. And why don't you know about those things, right? Well, it's probably because you don't get access to it, right? Because even if you do have the economic status, the chances of you getting invited to participate in a lot of those offerings is slim, right? You got to know people to get involved in situations like that. So I said, okay, well, why don't I just go learn how to do what they do? Like, why don't I go learn how to be the trader that trades those guys' money and do it myself? Like, what would stop me from doing that? And I realized absolutely nothing. The information is actually available, and actually it's available now more than ever. I also saw other people start to get familiar with people making big profits like that. And then all of the education gurus, Travis, and you've seen it, started to emerge, all these financial experts that sold you the idea of making money in the financial markets, but it was really just to sell you a course. And you thought that if you bought that course, that guy was going to make you rich with his fancy algorithm or his fancy AI or his 90% winning strategy. But none of these guys actually do this for a living, right? And so, I spent 5 years of my life, almost 6, 5 days a week, 8 hours a day, living my life behind my computer screen, making rich people richer, and got rich doing it. Beautiful home, Ferrari in the garage, everything that I've ever dreamed of having in my life, I've been able to achieve through this skill. But unfortunately, I took that skill that was designed to create freedom for myself and I turned it into a job, where I had people to answer to, and it just wasn't purposeful for me. So I looked at the void in the industry. And I said, you know what? If there's ever going to be a time, and this really when COVID happened, Travis, everybody got locked down. And I saw all these people losing their jobs and I saw all these trading companies emerging. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to get involved in this industry. I'm going to get involved. I'm going to disrupt this industry. I'm going to build a team. I'm going to run that team like a Wall Street hedge fund. Like if we're managing $1 billion portfolio on Wall Street and we have a team of traders, number one, we don't have 170 traders managing that portfolio. You have a very small team that's very controlled and you all work together as a cohesive unit to grow that portfolio because then you all eat. What if you could bring an education team together like that? The best NASDAQ trader, the best S&P trader, licensed traders overseeing all of it. Series 65, Series 3, Series 31, right? CPA, CTS. You build a team like that, a small controlled team where you control the information that's going out and you bring that to the education arena. How many lives could you impact? How many people could you set free? And so then the other question was, well, how many people actually have the money to put in a brokerage account and trade it? And then in 2020, so many people started understanding these financial markets and actually becoming good at it that these situations called prop firms started to happen where brokers with huge amounts of liquidity would provide capital to people who can prove that they can trade and prove that they have good risk management skills. You take a small assessment, you grow an account by 10%. There's no time limit on it. You just can't draw down the account more than 5% a day. You just have to show that you understand the generality of trading, risk management, and that you have a good strategy. And they'll give you $500,000 to trade, $100,000, up to $1 million sometimes, and let you keep 75 to 90% of the profit that you generate from that capital. So you don't even have to put your own capital at risk anymore. That wasn't how it was when I got started in trading. I had to start with my own money, which I lost, and then my own money again, which I lost, and then money I borrowed from my grandmother, which I lost again, until I finally started figuring this out. But I also see this, Trav, with 2.5 years it took me to figure this out, spent well over 6 figures on education, learning from all these different people, all these different courses, all these different strategies. And what I've come to the conclusion of after going through all of that is 90% of the stuff I didn't even need to know. This whole entire industry is run on your ability to manage risk. And you have a good strategy that does 60, 70%. You can even have one that does 50%. With a good risk to reward strategy, you're a profitable trader. You can make millions of dollars in this industry, right? And past performance doesn't guarantee or predict any future results. And I'm not saying it's going to happen for you guaranteed. But what I can tell you is we launched our education company last year. We helped over 1,000 people get funded through those prop firms. We had probably 60 to 70% of our entire database of about 4,000 or 5,000 people consistently making money on live accounts, which you don't see in the industry. They say 95% of the people that attempt retail trading fail. Well, how do you have an organization with a 60, 70% success rate, right? Those are the people that apply themselves, of course. But what if you could create a path where you could take a 3-year learning curve, condense it into a 90-day learning curve, teach you exactly what you need to know to harness money out of the markets with a very controlled system? And that's how Driven Trading was born. That's what the company we launched last year, because I saw a need for it. I saw a void in the industry, a hole in the world of people trying to make a living and feed their families, losing their jobs. You see 800 million jobs are reportedly about to disappear over the next 5 years. And I just wanted to be a solution provider. And I'm passionate about trading. I love trading, not passionate about sitting behind my computer screen, managing other people's money and not having any type of output in life. So I got in with my passion and working with people and developing traders. And we really built a professional trader development factory. And not only do we do that, but we also provide the funding for those traders. So I'm just going to actually share a couple slides with you guys. Let me see if I can pull this up real quick. And I just want to talk a little bit about our company and also talk about, what took place here recently with our merge with IX Global. See, I launched Driven out of a necessity, right? I had an organization of people that just love learning how to trade. We put that organization together during the pandemic when everybody was down. I was actually working for a company as their VP. We had put over 16,000 people in that company, and we had a whole bunch of people that just wanted to learn how to trade, right? And they just pleaded with me, please start your own company. We want to learn from you. And so I did. And we built that company. We did, $4 million last year, and it was an awesome run, right? But we focused on developing a world-class product. And when we came into this arena, we didn't look at this like some of the other companies out there where they're only teaching you enough to get excited, but are making you reliant on them and the software that they provide for you to generate income. Well, if anything happens to that individual, or if anything ever happens to that software, you're right back to where you started. And a lot of times those softwares are actually complete scams, AI, all that stuff. We have the best algorithm. I'm going to tell you right now, the only algorithms that work are algorithms on Wall Street that cost $150 million. So if somebody's selling you a subscription to that for $99, tell them to get lost. It's not real, right? It's not real. $150 million it costs to build one of those supercomputers. I'm going to tell you guys, I don't think there's any skill more essential to the American dream, or any dream for that matter, in the world than learning how to manage your own money. I truly believe that. And I'm not just saying that because that's what I do. I'm saying it because I know the impact that it can have on your life. So when we launched this company, it was to develop the skill in the individual, right? We do that through our academy and our courses that take you straight to the point of how to make money in the markets, eliminating all the white noise and taking you straight in to what you need to know, buyers and sellers territory, how institutional money flows in the market, and how to position yourself with the smallest amount of risk possible and get as much money on the table as you can in the alignment of the overall direction of the overall player. And for those of you who've been following me in my trading room over the last several weeks, we haven't lost at all, right? Completely undefeated over the last 3 weeks. Thousands of pips in the market, thousands of points in the S&P 500 and NASDAQ. And I'm telling you guys that because it's real and it's documented. I trade my live TD Ameritrade account live 3 days a week in the trade room for all of you to come in and watch me. And you can actually earn money while you're learning, because what we do is 6 days a week, multiple times per day in multiple languages. We actually take you into the live market and show you how to apply what you're learning in our courses to the market in real time. Not only do we do that, but we actually take you in and teach you our exact strategy. See, every single one of our educators has their own predefined strategy that they've developed over the last several years that have made them a fortune in these industries, from crypto to binary options to indexes to Forex. If it trades, we trade it. And we have a world-class trader and educator leading each division, both in Spanish, both in English, and now we just recently added Portuguese. Not only do we have Portuguese, those are traders that we actually have, live traders that speak those languages. We're actually fully dubbing all of our academy in Hindi, and we're soon to be expanding with a Mandarin trader. So for those of you that have contacts out in Asia, our goal is to spread this throughout the whole world, to teach this skill set, get people funded, and help them make a living. So we teach our exact strategies. Not only do we do that, we have an app, a powered app. Actually, I had a team of programmers from JP Morgan build this app for me last year. We spent a lot of money on it. And every one of our traders, when we're getting ready to enter a position in the market, we send out exactly what we're entering, the exact entry price, our 5 profit targets, and exactly where we're setting our stop loss or our risk. And you can actually follow along with these trade ideas and actually learn exactly why we're entering, exactly how we're entering. And in fact, you can actually copy and paste them right into your own account for educational purposes, right? But I'm going to tell you guys, we do this, right? So we created a model where you can earn money while you're learning the skill. We're creating a program right now that's going to be launching in the next 2 weeks called the 90-Day Road to Pro, 90 videos in 90 days with a little bit of curriculum. And we believe that we can take anybody from anywhere around the world who's never looked at a chart before in their life to, after 90 days, passing an assessment, getting funded through a prop firm broker, and trading and making a living, a full-time income from the financial markets. Why do I feel so confident that we can do that? Because we've done it with thousands of people in just the last couple of years, thousands. And now with our merge with IX Global, we've just created a brand new prop for mastery course. We have something called the Funded Traders Club, which is a private group where we actually send out trade ideas and signals and a whole bunch of things that you can access. And I'm going to tell you guys, all of this Last year, we actually used to charge, $2,000 for this. And now it's just $175 a month. Last year, $2,000, $200 a month. And you only had half of what I'm showing you today. Right now, because we partnered with IX Global and we wanted to reach more people and we wanted to meet them where they're at for $175 a month, not only to get access to everything that we provide, you get access to the whole premium membership with IX Global, which Travis is going to talk about a lot of those benefits as well. Because the merger really happened because I saw my buddy Travis, which Travis and I have been really good friends for well over a decade now, been great friends in the industry and have just a love for one another, right? He's one of my best buddies. And we're both very successful entrepreneurs and always try to stand by each other, do the right things, be integral with everything that we do in business. Well, I saw my buddy Travis standing in front of an oil rig in Nebraska with a hard hat on, talking about commodity-backed cryptocurrency. And so I'm looking at commodity-backed cryptocurrency. What do you got going on, Travis? Like, I got to hear about this.
I still have the oil. I've got my hat right here.
Yeah, that hat right there, that white hat. And I said, Travis, commodity-backed crypto, and he's telling me about these nodes and all this stuff. And guys, I'm just going to have to let you hear it from him because he explains it better than anybody I know. But what I saw was a valuable product for my client base and my clientele to have stored value, potential upside, and really one of the best solutions I've seen in the digital age ever. So Travis, I'm going to turn it back over to you, buddy. Really appreciate everything you've done for me and the Driven family, but we want to hear about the nodes and everything that we got going on with tokenization of assets.
Well, thank you so much, Cory. I appreciate it. And we're super excited to have you on board here at IX Global. The thing is, I've always taught the key to true freedom is to develop as many IPAs as possible, income producing assets. And with your information, with your knowledge, with your tools, with your resources, what we've been able to do here at IX is just provide one more opportunity to be able to develop another stream of income. And that's really what it's all about. And especially in this day and age where we are right now. So super excited about that. We've got a lot of hands-on with Cory and his team. They're doing trading every single day. You have an opportunity to be able to work with these traders. And it's really hands-on. Let's talk about an opportunity now that's a little more hands-off. Everybody would love. Let me ask you this question. If there was a way that you could generate income 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, without having to build a team and without having to recruit anybody, Cory, would you want to know about it?
Of course.
Of course. Well, let's go ahead and talk a little bit about DebtBox. If you wouldn't mind, let's pull up the DebtBox slides. I want to introduce you to the founders of Debt. So I got involved with IX Global a little over a year ago. In fact, July 11th, just yesterday, was my 1-year anniversary. I got a call in early June from a friend of mine who said, listen, I want to talk to you about these different mining nodes that I've gotten involved with. And, nodes is kind of a funny word, but, he explained to me how mining worked. And he said, but what's special about this particular company is that they've taken these different commodities that are in high demand and they've backed their cryptocurrency. They've essentially tokenized these assets. Now, I've always thought that the moment that somebody tokenized an asset, fortunes would be made. And let me tell you why I believe that. If we go back to 1971, prior to 1971, we had the, every single dollar that had to be printed had to be backed by gold, right? We had the gold reserve that was there. But of course, what happened? Richard Nixon removed this whole thing from happening. And what ended up happening from that point forward? We gave the Federal Reserve the power and the ability to be able to start printing money at will. And since that time, we've lost approximately 90% of the value of that dollar. Why? Because it's not backed by anything. And so I've always felt that the moment that somebody came into the cryptocurrency space and they really brought something with tangibility and substance, now we've got something to talk about, right? Because let's face it, cryptocurrency is super exciting. I mean, I'm on board with everything that decentralization stands for. I love the idea of getting the banks and the government out of the middle of my transactions. I don't know about you, but if you've been paying attention to what's been going on in the banking system, in the banking world, it's getting a little funny out there. First of all, number one, we've seen more banks close this year than ever before, all combined, ever before in the history of the United States. So you're seeing all of these banks either close or they're merging, and they're starting to come up with funnier and funnier rules, Cory. I don't know if you've heard, but just recently in California, a major bank is requiring that if you want to withdraw more than $3,000, you have to submit an invoice You have to tell them what you want to spend the money on, and you have to wait up to a week to get your money. That's
your own money. Your own money.
Your own money. You have banks that are literally closing accounts if they find out that you're buying cryptocurrency, because there's a big war right now between cryptocurrency and the banking system. Why? Because the banking system is losing. And here's why. I personally believe that the day and age of them using your money essentially for free to be able to go out and build wealth is behind us. Think about it. You go work hard. You work hard. You earn money. We're taught to save as much money as we can, right? You put your money into the bank. They pay you pennies on the dollar, fractions of a penny on the dollar, right? And then they turn around and we have this fractional reserve banking system that no longer requires them to even keep your money in deposit. So I think in our minds, like when we go into the bank, we're depositing this money, and then they go back into the back room somewhere and they put it into a stack, and it's sitting your money. And these banks get wealthy. These bankers get wealthy, right? Some of them, they control the world today, right? The people that are running the banks, some of those big families that we've heard about that kind of run the world. And so anytime that a dollar is taken out of the bank and it goes over to the cryptocurrency side, they're losing $10. And so there's this big war that's been going on, and we've watched it, for years now from afar. Anytime that the cryptocurrency industry goes into kind of what we call a crypto winter, the media loves to start jumping all over it, spreading fear and uncertainty and doubt, and telling people, we told you so, and we told you that, crypto wasn't backed by anything, and we told you to stay away from it. And then what happens? All of a sudden it goes and explodes, and we see it go to a new all-time high. Well, here's what's happening now. Don't pay attention to what the banks are saying. Pay attention to what they're doing. A couple of years ago, JP Morgan was talking about, they actually had an emergency meeting with their high-level investors and told them, we don't support cryptocurrency. It's not buy back anything. We're warning you to stay away from it. You know what they're doing today? They're talking about the tokenization of assets to the tune of trillions of dollars. If you look at Goldman Sachs, what are they doing? They're buying up exchanges. What they're doing is they've now figured out, hey, we can't beat them, so we've got to figure out how to monetize this. The world is going digital. Cryptocurrency currently, right now, today, 4% of the population has a cryptocurrency wallet. 4% may not sound like a lot. That's globally. But that number is projected to grow to 10% over the course of the next couple of years. So I like to study trends, right? I as an entrepreneur, I believe that there's a lot of money that can be made if you figure out where people are going and get there faster. I find myself asking, what's going to be the catalyst, Cory, that drives that number from 4% to 10%, right? What's going to be the thing that really moves the mountain in the cryptocurrency space? Because, cryptocurrency, while it's been exciting to watch, it still has its challenges, right? Let's talk about some of those challenges. Fluctuation, right? If you don't get in at the right time, you could catch the market and all of a sudden going into a winter, and we're all standing there for like 2 or 3 years, kind of poking your portfolio saying, do something, right? And you got to wait for it to come out of that winter again. So that's one of the challenges. How about rug pulls? We've seen a lot of rug pulls that are out there. That's where, let's say that we decided to start a project, and because we're the owners, we issue ourselves a large amount of tokens, and then we go out and give some celebrities or maybe influencers some tokens to help promote it. And it starts to get a little bit of traction online, and people start buying these different tokens. And all of a sudden, with the buying pressure, all of a sudden the price starts to go up. And then the most powerful emotion in the world kicks in, right? FOMO. I guarantee you, some of you guys are on this presentation right now. I'm going to raise my hand already because I'm guilty, that have bought the dumbest projects on the planet in crypto because a neighbor, a friend, or a taxi cab driver told you to go buy a coin that had a picture of a fox or a dog on it. It had no utility, no purpose, literally no substance. Started as a joke, but for some reason you thought, man, I can make money with this. I got to get in on this, right?
I still got it. You're
still hoping. Please come back and do something, right? So we've all done it. So these are some of the challenges with the industry. Well, I gave you a success formula earlier, right? If you can figure out where people are going, you get there faster, there's money to be made. But if you figure out where people are going, get there faster, and solve some of the biggest challenges in the industry, now we're talking about creating legacy wealth. And that's exactly what is happening with debt. I'm so excited that IX Global has become the exclusive wholesaler for debt. It's very important you understand two totally separate companies, but we represent debt and all of the different projects that they have now introduced. And so debt is 20 years in the making. They have started off in the physical mining world, where they were mining things like oil and gold and precious metals and diamonds. Over time, they were able to develop a very unique technology. This technology has the capability of literally being able to scan the earth and identify pockets of oil in the ground, or to identify veins of gold in the ground. It can read, it's essentially looking at the frequency that these different elements are putting out. And they developed over a 5-year period algorithms that now have it to the point, Cory, where it's so precise that they can find gold in the ground to within a couple of feet. They can find oil and tell you exactly where, at what depth that oil is, at what depth that natural gas is, where you should enter into a chamber to be able to maximize the extraction process. So they said, it's a lot harder to actually mine this stuff. Why don't we take this technology and let's go help people with it? And so essentially what they did is they became a facilitator to the exploratory industry. And now they've become the Uber of the mining industry. Now, what do I mean by that? Uber's the largest transportation company in the world that does not have any vehicles. In the same way, we are the largest mining company in the world that doesn't have any mining equipment. But we now work with hundreds. In fact, I was talking to Jason today. We now have, I thought it was 300. We're actually up to 500 different wells, oil companies, and gas pipelines that are either online or are currently in underwriting right now. And every single one of these projects, some of them will go on for hundreds of years. We receive royalties from every single project. Royalties are better than profits, because profits you get paid last. Royalties, you get paid first. And so these royalties bring in a tremendous amount of revenue. Last year, we did $2.2 billion in revenue. The royalties from these different projects, they said, you know what, we've got the physical side of our company, but what if we could marry that physical side with the digital world? What if we introduced some tokens, some projects that were backed by these different commodities? And they launched their first project called Black Gold, and it went through the roof. Why? Because people have been waiting. They've been waiting for the tokenization of assets. It's amazing to me, and Jason said it I was watching this podcast this morning. He says, it's kind of crazy that we were the first ones to do this, but the reality is it's taken them 20 years to establish the infrastructure and the assets to be able to do this. And now I want everybody to do something for me tonight. I want you to Google, after this presentation, I want you to Google JP Morgan tokenization of assets. JP Morgan tokenization of assets. Either the first or the second link that you're going to see is you're going to see an article of them talking about how they're predicting that this is going to be trillions of dollars over the course of the next couple of years. And as you continue to research it more and more, Cory, what's the tokenization of assets projected to be worth now over the course of the next 3 years or 5 years?
Over the next 3 years, like 15 million is what or 15 trillion is what they're projecting. But over the next 10, 50 plus $50+ trillion over the next 10 years. Wild.
It's where the cryptocurrency industry is going. And if you think about it, it makes sense, because what we're doing essentially is raising the bar in the industry. We're moving from speculation and hype to substance and tangibility. And that is going to be the catalyst. And here we are 3 to 4 years ahead, first in the world to be able to do this. And that excited me. I wanted to be a part of that. And so I started off as a collector. I started off buying licenses. I wanted to test the ecosystem out. I wanted to test the liquidity. I wanted to look it up on the blockchain. I wanted to get to know the owners. And now we have started to look at this as really a significant part of our 3 to 5 year wealth creation plan, instead of the next 40 years trying to save as much money as you can and hopefully retire one day with a little bit of money in the bank. Let me let you in on a little secret. You cannot outsave the current rate of, or the current devaluation of the dollar. You cannot outsave inflation. Can't be done. Can't do it. And you've got to figure out ways to be able to create income. The best way to do it is to become the bank yourself. Work for you. How do you do that? You learn some of the skills that Cory was talking about earlier. You start looking at different income producing assets, such as the nodes that we're talking about right now. So what is a node? It's a funny word. A node, essentially, all it does is it validates transactions on a blockchain. It's required to enforce the protocol of a blockchain. Remember, we've removed the banks. If you go and swipe your debit card at the gas station right now, you're going to wait about 15 to 30 seconds for that approval to come back. And what's happening is it's going to a third party that's essentially validating that the funds are there, that the transaction is good, and then it sends an approval, right, to the retailer, guarantees those funds. We've removed that from the process. That's all digital now. That's why blockchain is faster. It's more efficient. It's cheaper. I can literally send, if I went to the bank right now to wire $100,000 to another country, I would have to go through so much red tape. They would want to know everything about that transaction, where the money came from, where the money is going. I would
have the papers you got to fill out.
It would be ridiculous, but I could send my friend $100,000 of Bitcoin right now. It would cost me less than 30 cents, and it would be there in 30 seconds. For that reason, crypto will win, period. There's no stopping it. There is no stopping it. And so nodes are at the heart of blockchain and at the heart of all things that operate, right? So what does that mean to you? Imagine when the ATM first came out and you were given an opportunity to go buy ATMs and you could go place them in strategic places, right? No one else had done this yet. And every single time that somebody put their debit card in and pays $3.95 or $50 if you're in Vegas, and then you put the ATM in, you get those transaction fees. That's essentially what a node holder does. Now, here's what's cool. Every single project that's launched, there's only a set amount of nodes that are available. When they're gone, they're gone. And when they sell out, they convert to what's called an NFT. An NFT is just digital real estate. That's all it is. And it has the potential to become an appreciating asset that you can sell for a lot more money in the future. Why? Because it's kind of like an annuity, right? It's just paying you rewards and tokens every single day. So that's how it works. So when you look at our debt ecosystem, for years, people have been talking about blockchain. It's complicated. They've been talking about mining. It's even more complicated. You know, the original miners, some of the miners that I know, they were using their computers. Then they started buying this expensive equipment and they would bring it into their house with all these cords. They had to air condition it. It cost $4,000. It would only last for 6 to 12 months before they burn it up. They'd have to go buy more equipment. What we have done is we've literally taken the guesswork out of it. For those of you that are saying, I just want something that's hands off, right? Like I just want something completely hands off. This is it. You don't listen. If you can click the withdraw button in an app, then you can be successful in this environment. That's how this works. So let's talk a little bit more in depth. So step number one, you purchase a mining license. You decide which projects appeal to you. We've got 10 different projects. I think 4 or 5 of them are sold out now. We've sold something like 500,000 nodes around the world. We have 400,000 people involved in our ecosystem. So you purchase a mining license. And we have mining licenses that start out at $500 per license, and they go up from there depending on the project. And then from there, it gets activated. What does that mean? It's activating onto the network. And that takes about 24 to 48 hours. Once it's activated, it begins mining. And the network of node holders share in the rewards equally in proportion to however many nodes that you might own. So if you own one node, you're going to get one of those shares, and it comes in every single day. You get paid rewards, which are tokens that are backed by real world assets. The royalty income that's coming in from our oil partners, our natural gas partners, our aluminum partners, the Ghana Bauxite Corporation, which is a 98-year-old company, the beverage industry, the real estate industry, water, all of these different projects that we have royalties coming in, and that is supporting the value of these projects. Step number 3, you can withdraw every single day. There's no, hey, you got to hold these for 6 or 12 months or 3 years and hope that the project recovers. You can cash them. We have people every single day that cash their tokens in. For a project to really be successful, you need 3 types of people. You need people that are buying, you need people that are cashing in their tokens, and you need people that are holding those tokens because they understand supply and demand, right? Because there's only a set amount of tokens. Think about Bitcoin. There's only a set amount of tokens. Every 4 years, they cut the amount of tokens in half. They burn half of them. So what happens to the people that still are holding on to their tokens? Well, historically speaking, those Bitcoin goes to a new all-time high every single time there's a halving. The rest of the industry follows that trend. So there's also those that understand the tokenomics here and understand the deflationary mechanisms. We're living in an inflationary time. Deflation just simply means that we have mechanisms where we're constantly removing tokens, not every 4 years, but we're talking about literally every month. So you don't have to wait 4 years for the huge up and down swings. And that's how it works. So it's simple as 1, 2, 3. You buy a license, it starts producing rewards. You either cash them in daily or you hold on to them for long-term growth. It's all supported by, and this is one of my favorite projects. The fact that it's still available to me, it's one of the most, in my opinion, overlooked, undervalued licenses that we have. It's called Explorer. This is our technology that makes everything possible. We started off using Google Earth satellites. We are now in partnership with some companies that very soon will be launching a number of satellites to increase our bandwidth. And it allows us to be able, we can move that satellite anywhere over the Earth. And we started by working with smaller companies like farmers. You know, there's a farmer in Nebraska that has 4,000 acres of farmland, and he knew there was oil on his property. He had partnered with 2 previous exploratory companies. They dug holes, never were able to find oil. Hired us. We came in, we scanned his land, found 17 different targets. We started with the largest. We told him that the first reserve of oil was at around 7,000, 7,200 feet. The larger chamber was around 9,000 feet, but you need a much larger drill to be able to get down to that depth. Well, he was smart. He started with the smaller drill, wanted to believe that this was real. And at 7,200 feet, he tapped oil for the first time in 10 years. His name, I can't give you his name. I've met him. I've been on his property. But once he struck oil, he went and got a much larger drill, one of the largest drills now that is in the United States. We've got all kinds of video footage and all of this that you can see and look up. And we told him that we felt that there was this larger reserve that could be a dolomite, which is one of the largest. It's built on sand dunes. Saudi Arabia was built on dolomite. And we thought that it could be a dolomite based on what we were reading. He tapped into a 1,600-acre chamber of oil and gas. Cory, $1.7 trillion of natural gas alone.
At just one site.
It's
That's
crazy.
crazy.
And that's the reason why, by the way, for those of you natural gas node holders, it's sold out now. But the reason why there's more tokens in circulation of natural gas than any other project, because we have more reserves from an asset standpoint of natural gas than any other project by far. So this is where it all starts with Explorer. And here's the coolest thing. These licenses are $3,500. You know what they just announced today? Absolutely blew my mind. They took $2,000 off and they're running promotion right now. They're $1,500 for these licenses.
Wow.
$1,500 for this license right now, which is unbelievable. And they did the same thing for aluminum. So aluminum and Explorer right now, they're running a promo for $1,500 to be able to access these licenses, which is just a phenomenal deal. Our aluminum project, we have enough aluminum to mine for the next 200 years. My aluminum licenses, I have 35, and they will be given to my children, and they will be benefiting from these licenses. So that's our Explorer project. That's where it all starts. This is another one of our partners, our Nevada oil field. The green is where this is an old chamber that was drilled in the 50s and 60s. They thought that it had gone dry. They brought in our scan technology. We were able to help them find a 20 million barrel of oil chamber that allows them to now withdraw over 5,000 barrels of oil every single day for the next 20 years. Do you think they're happy to pay us a 5% royalty? You better believe it. So what we're doing is we're helping them to be more efficient, more eco-friendly. Now with our scans, they can go out and get funding before they even start drilling, because our scans help validate that there's actually something that's there. I don't know if anybody's ever invested in an oil well before, but it was kind of like a gamble, like a crapshoot. You know, you're just hoping that they hit oil, and they're out there just drilling holes in the ground. And many of these holes, they come up dry more often than not. So that is how we've essentially changed the game, and ultimately why we've been able to be so successful. Black Gold was our proof of concept token. It launched in November of 2021, went up 120,000%, was listed in the top 30 tokens in the entire world twice. They've sold 92,000 total licenses held. The rest of those licenses are available in micro licenses, so it is sold out. Average volume of $2 million per day. created over 65 unique wallet holders with over $1 million just with this particular project alone. Now we have over 500 oil wells and gas pipelines that are online supporting our oil and our natural gas projects. I want to talk about accumulation for a moment, Cory, because I had a mentor that made over $50 million in the last bull run. And this mentor said this to me, said it's the decisions that you make in a down market and the tokens that you accumulate during that same period of time that can build you true wealth over the next 3 to 4 years. And I thought about that. And you and I have been in this industry now long enough to see the behavior. And it's interesting because it blows my mind when Bitcoin was at 16 in January of this year. Like the fear index was through the roof and nobody wanted to touch it.
It was going down to 8, right?
Nobody wanted to touch it. Now at 30, people are lining up to buy it. And when it's at 60, people will be flooding out the door to buy it. Absolutely. So the key is it's not about price in a down market. It's about accumulation, right? Those miners that were mining Bitcoin when it first started were mining 5,000 Bitcoin a day. They just didn't know what they had their hands on. Some of them were mining it with their computer. They threw their computers away. And I've heard stories of people that literally were in landmines trying to find their computers because when Bitcoin finally went up, they had tens of millions of dollars sitting on a hard drive on a computer that they threw away because they didn't know what they had at the time. Well, this is an example.
Buying slices of pizza, remember?
Right. Yeah, $270 million for 2 pizzas.
I know.
So this is an example of just what accumulation looks like. This is black gold. This is a wallet of black gold. You can see here the numbers. Put on my little reading glasses here. So you've got $1,329 on the first screenshot. I wish it was screenshotted back when it first launched in November, but we didn't have it. So this is the first screenshot. And then if you go out just a little bit further, this is January 2nd to January 11th, same amount of tokens, but now it goes to $2,300. Then you go out a little further, same amount of tokens, it goes to 11,000. Same amount of tokens, it goes to 19,000. So what you're seeing is, and many people just saw this in our ecosystem. Anybody that got involved in DCM or DRIP, in the beginning, when it first launched, you got to participate in an accumulation phase, right? You got a large amount of tokens, right? That's what those half-life projects are all about and why people pay premiums to be able to get in early. Well, guess what? All those people that did that last week were celebrating. They were all over online, Cory, weren't they? I have people that I know that made tens of thousands of dollars just on those projects last week because they just accumulated tokens.
That's right.
And then when the burn happened, right at the end of June, the price of those projects shot through the roof and people were pretty happy. They were very, very excited. So that's the concept. This is not get rich quick, guys. This is about accumulation. And for me, I go into every project with a 3 to 5 year mindset. I think, absolutely, especially in year one, I'm all about how many tokens can I accumulate, especially with the larger projects like NatG and some of these, aluminum projects. There's so many tokens that are flooding into the system initially. And then what happens is over time, we're burning those tokens. And eventually, as you start to get down the road, you've got people that have sold. You've got a lot of tokens that have burned. Those people that held on to those tokens, those are the ones that I believe will be rewarded. And so I'm a long-term holder. I'm not telling you what you should do. You can do whatever you want. But it is a very exciting ecosystem to be a part of. We are on all kinds of different exchanges, which to me is huge validation. Nothing worse than a project that says, hey, here's what we're going to do. Here's 10 million tokens, Cory. I'm going to give them to you just because you're at the beginning. But you can't cash them in because there's no liquidity. We're not on any exchanges. So we're pretty transparent. I mean, like about as transparent as it gets out there. We're on the exchanges. You can look them up. You can look up the blockchain. The wallet address is out there for the trusts that are doing the buying and burning every single month, which again is just us taking the royalty income, buying up tokens and burning them. Same deflationary concept as Bitcoin every 4 years, except we're doing it monthly. That helps reduce that fluctuation. And it also helps to bring real world value to these projects. So when you look at our price sheet, and we've had some adjustments even today. So, you've got some projects that are available digitally linked gold. Gold is one of the most proven sources of stored value for thousands of years. I love the fact that they allow us to be diversified and to build a well-balanced portfolio based on whatever your risk tolerances are. So we have DLG is still available as a license. It's $2,000 per license. We have Aluminum and Explorer, as you can see, that are normally $3,500 that are right now today $1,500. How long is that going to last? I don't know. Last time I saw something like that, it lasted for, I think, a week or less. So every now and then they throw some wonderful opportunities that are out there. So right now is a fantastic time to build that portfolio, because keep in mind, Cory, when you buy Aluminum or Explorer at $1,500, you're buying the same NFT when those projects sell out. It's the same NFT as the person who paid full price for those licenses.
Yep.
It's the same output as the people that paid full price. Now, those people are going, well, that's not fair. Well, think about it. You got in early, so you actually got more tokens and more accumulation. That's what you paid for. So Aluminum and Explorer, phenomenal price points right now. Beverage is now sold out. Blocks is real estate. I really, really like this project because, look, real estate is always, it's real, it's tangible, it's been around for a long time. It's traditionally, over time, historically speaking, values go up. And so there's a lot of people that maybe right now, if you go look at the pricing and the interest rates, it's hard to be in real estate. And so this gives you a chance to have a piece of real estate. We're acting as a lender for large developments, commercial and residential, so that the risk factor is negated. A lot of money in this particular project when it comes to the interest rates and the revenue and the royalties that are coming in. We have a lot of real estate investors that are sitting on the sideline right now that are not doing anything because of prices, that are buying up blocks because they love what this project stands for. So $2,000, that's a great, great, great price point and dollar value for a license for what this particular project is. Still relatively new. Drip, one of my favorite projects. This particular project I heard about a little over a year ago, sitting at the owner's house when I first met him. They had just discovered one of the largest underground aqueduct bodies of water in the last 50 years. And what's one of the most precious commodities in the world, especially in some of these third world countries? Water, right? Biblically speaking, they say that future wars will be fought over water. Well, if you look at the bottled water industry, number one, it's a huge industry, right? I mean, we're talking about like $350 billion industry. People are becoming more conscious about what they're putting into their bodies. And if you notice, we have a project called Bev where it's focused around manufacturing, and and that project sold out. So you see how a lot of our projects support each other. Drip also, we're working with third world countries where we're putting in wells in these areas and villages that need it. So it's a really cool, it's just got a really good humanitarian feel. These licenses started out at $7,000 per license, Cory, 8 weeks ago. Today, they're $500.
It's wild.
Same license, same output. No, same exact. The node is the same. The only difference is with these half-life projects, is what we call them, there's a large amount of tokens that are paid out right at the very beginning. So the people that paid $7,000 for this license wanted to get in on that accumulation before the first halving event. First halving event was only 60 days after the license launched, which just happened. You guys heard what happened to the price of those projects as soon as that halving took place. Now, we have another halving in another year, another halving after that, another halving after that. The project is still fantastic. So here's what I do. This is my strategy, not telling you or giving you advice. When a new project like that comes out, I buy new because I want to accumulate. And then I sit back and I wait for the licenses to get to this price point. And then what I'll do is I'll go in and I'll pick up 10 to 20 more. And here's why. Because the NFT, it's the same NFT value. So now when the project sells out, we're about 90% sold out right now. This will probably be sold out in about 7 days, maybe a little less than that at the rate that we're selling these. It converts to an NFT within about 6 months. You can go sell that NFT. So Cory, what I'm doing is I'm building a portfolio of assets, appreciating assets. And at the same time, I'm accumulating these tokens that are backed by one of the most valuable commodities in the world today. So
here's another thing that I saw too that I think is brilliant, and it's not talked about enough too, right? With the NFT conversion, it's like you can hold these licenses and put a bunch of money in them. You can accumulate for a year, 2 years. You can go sell the NFT and make yourself whole on the initial investment like that, if not more. You know what I mean? Especially when the scarcity is there. I think it's extremely powerful.
Well, of course, I mean, and again, we have to throw out that there's no guarantees, but I want to use an example. Gallon Node is a project that launched 4 years ago. In fact, the owner of our company helped create, he was the largest owner of Gallon Nodes. They launched at $1,000 per license. The project sold out. Project did well. And today you cannot buy a Gallon Node for less than $100,000 per license.
That's right.
So we're talking about two different things here. We're talking about tokens, token accumulation, an asset that's producing tokens every single day, but you're also acquiring an NFT that has intrinsic value as well. And that value is going to be largely based on what happens in the future with that particular project. So there's a lot of opportunity there. So for me, I'm a collector of licenses. We now have well over 100. My friend Eric Garrison, he's probably watching right now, is like 800 and even maybe 900 licenses now. This is my wealth creation plan. And I am excited about, our goal this year is to go to 300 licenses, and then within the next year to get to at least 500. And so to be able to accumulate that level of licenses, once you get to the level that we're at now, even at today's values, the residual income that they produce, we could live on it if we needed to. I'm not cashing in my tokens because I believe they're going to be worth a lot more in the future. So I like the idea that I'm creating this. I believe in a down market, diversification is important. And I believe that it's important to not rely on one asset class. So I like the idea of being able to be in a number of different areas. And this for us is a big part of our wealth creation and our retirement. We also have micronodes. For those that cannot afford a license, you can start by just buying a micronode for $50. You're buying 1% of an output of a license. Now, here's the cool thing about the micros. We still have Black Gold and Nat G and debt. Hint, hint. Everybody here should own a debt micronode. If you don't, you should own one. I'm just going to tell you, it's $200 for a micronode. It's our utility token that makes all of, that every single project is paired to. Just the airdrops alone that will come as a result of you having that license will far outweigh the value of that. Plus, you're going to start accumulating debt token, which, if you understand our future plans and what we're going to be doing by launching our own blockchain in the next 12 months, you'll understand why that's significant in the future as we get more and more into that. I'm not going to get too much into the tokenomics today. We have an app that is outstanding, that tracks everything. Anytime that I show somebody an app and I pull up my tokens and people see them coming in real time, they're just blown away. They're like, "Is that real? Like, can I withdraw that?" And I show them, and they're just like, "How do I get this?" It is the only way that I'm aware of that you can generate cryptocurrency, which is a currency, right? Cryptocurrency, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, without having to build a team, without having to recruit anybody, or without having to be on an auto ship. The only thing you have to do is, after you get a month of hosting for free after that, I think it's $50 a year to host your license. So that's it. So everything is tracked on your app. There's enough evidence out there. We're the only company that I know of in the world that flies people, the top earners and top leaders all over the world to go validate these assets. I've been to gold concessions in Ghana. I've been to high-yielding agriculture fields in Ghana. I've almost had my head taken off in a gold concession in Ghana by a guy that had a big axe that he was swinging. I've been to the giant oil well up there in Nebraska on the top left there. That's where Cory saw me with my hard hat going, "What in the world is Travis doing on an oil well?" You're going to see a lot more footage coming out this year. We've got a lot more trips that are planned this year. So we're the only company in the crypto space and the digital currency space that's willing to validate that these things are actually real. And I'm gonna tell you, and I've been sucked into it, and I know Cory has too. There's a lot of projects that are out there. They come out with their shiny 4% a week, 5% a week. Let me tell you something. If you ever hear that run, it's illegal to guarantee any type of return. You ever hear that? Just know that project is going to shut down at some point. And here's what it's going to sound like. It's going to be really, really great until one day they're going to go, "Oh, we got hacked and our money's gone." Or, "You know what? Something happened and we can't get out the money." And it's going to happen. So what I love the most is that everything that we have is transparent. Everything that I've shared with you today can be validated, looked up on the blockchain. You can go and look at all the different assets and resources that we have. You can even look up your own nodes online and be able to see that they're actually mining. Finally, we got to talk about community. Cory, what has it been like for you being a part of this community since you've gotten involved?
Well, it's just been, a short time now, just, coming into March and, got to go out and experience an amazing, event with the IX Global community out in Punta Cana. It was amazing. I want to tell you right now, there's just real, genuine people, right? Authentic people with pure intentions that are just out to make a difference in the world. From the Debt Box team, which is amazing to be partnered up with guys that are just so pure, to Joe, our CEO, and then the whole community and the culture. It's just a whole group of people that's willing to help one another. Everybody works together. There's no this line or that line or any of that stuff, right? It's just a global community that's working together to promote good in the world and try to get wealthy and take care of our families, get our houses in order, right? And I love that because a lot of companies don't have that. And it's a real big blessing. I wouldn't be here if I don't care how good the product is or opportunity, if it doesn't have a good culture and community, count me out, because I know that those bad communities will sabotage a good product and a good opportunity every time.
Amen. When community and culture align, that's when momentum occurs. And I think that that's why we're seeing this momentum that's happening right now. We've talked about today a couple of different things so far. Number one, we've talked about some different strategies and ways that you can manage your money through the different trading applications that we're currently offering, the education that we're offering, the apps and the different platforms and the live trading that's going on. Number two, we've talked about more of a hands-off approach through our nodes that you can purchase and start earning tokens every single day. The third way that you can generate income here is through the IX Global opportunity. I want to be very clear. You do not and are not required to participate in this side of it. However, I will tell you that I can't tell you how many people over the last year have come to me that have said, I'm not interested in building a business. I just want to buy the nodes. And so they'll buy nodes. And then a week later, they'll come back and say, hey, can you talk to my brother about this? Because, we were chatting about it. So I'll say, sure. And then he'll be, hey, can you talk to my good friend about this? They're interested. And I'll say, sure. And eventually I say, look, but you can get a referral fee every single time that somebody decides to buy a license. I mean, that's just how it works. The world today, Cory, operates with referral fees. Like, I don't care if it's Kim Kardashian and her makeup and all the influencers that are online. Networking runs the world. And affiliate marketing, I don't know if anybody's paid attention, but there's people that are online that are like 16, 15, 12, 18, 20 that are making more money than all of us online digitally because they're influencers. That's where the world is going. So if you're not making money online and you're spending time online, you are consuming and not producing.
That's right.
So, for me, you don't have to participate, but man, I'll tell you what I love the most is that every time that I share this with someone and they purchase a license, or someone within the community that I started buys a license, I generate a little bit of money, and I take that money and guess what I do? I go buy more licenses. It's the first time in network marketing that I'm not buying product that I got a garage. I've probably got product all over this office from companies I've been in over the years. The products that I'm buying here, they're building my future. And so we have this amazing opportunity that you can be a part of on the IX Global side. And I do just want to touch on it for just a moment here. For those of you that are saying, look, I'd like to know a little bit about the business. We have Awaken leadership retreats every 6 months at places all around the world. Cory mentioned Punta Cana, Barcelona, been to Bali, just amazing places. How do you get involved? Number one, basic membership is for somebody who says that, I'm not really interested in the business, but I want to be a member, right? It's like Costco. I want to be a member so that I can at least access the licenses wholesale, and I can access some of the basic education. The basic academy, play around with that. I can, the basic membership, I can get one micro node a month. I can get some hosting fees that help me to host my license. So that would be for the person who says, I'm not interested in really anything other than just buying some licenses and just kind of dipping my toe in the water into the community. Pro membership is for somebody that says, I actually am interested in the referrals. I'd like the opportunity to be able to make some money here. I'm probably going to own more than one license. By the way, if you buy one, they're addicting. Trust me. Very few people that I know that have bought just one license. So I'm going to need some more hosting credits anyways, and I would like access to more of the education that's out there. And then a premium membership gives you driven, right? That's like the premium level education, all of the the live trading, the apps that Cory was talking about, the 60 videos in 60 days or 90 videos in 90 days that Cory's taught, all that stuff comes with that. It also has the ability for you to be able to get your hosting credits. It's kind of like, hey, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to go all in, right? So you've got 3 different membership levels that you can get started with. So that's how you come in the door. You decide which is the option that is best for you. And then once you've done that, if you want to build a business here, there's some different ways that you make money. Number one, whenever somebody enrolls as a member, you get a bonus, right? It's just like getting you sell a house, you get a bonus. The same thing, right? You get a commission. Same opportunity here. And from there, after you start generating direct bonuses, you can start qualifying for what's called an apprentice bonus. You go get 3 people. Does anybody know 3 people that are going to go to bed tonight saying a prayer asking for financial solutions? Do you think that you could help those 3 people go find 3 people that might want to go make a little bit of extra money right now in this economy? You realize an extra $14 a day would add an extra $5,000 a year to your income? $14 a day. Teach them, go find 3 people, you get a $100 bonus, right? So you become an apprentice, you get $100. Then the goal number 2 is, do you help those 3 people go do the same thing? Once you do that, you start to accelerate through our plan. You start to do what's called rank advance. We are one of the only comp plans that I know of, especially in a binary, that even if all your volume sitting on one side, that you can earn up to $100,000 a year. You literally can earn up to $2,000 every single week in rank bonuses with the volume that's generated through your community. And that volume is coming from memberships and people that are buying licenses. One of the beautiful things here is, I will tell you that in any other direct selling company, and I've been in this industry for 20 years, when you sell products or widgets, let's just call them a widget. It doesn't matter if it's skincare or if it's a health product. If it's $100, you're going to have to sell a lot of those $100 products to generate income. Here, because of the licenses and because of the volume that's flowing, you have an opportunity to be able to achieve with 300-400 people what might take you 10,000 people in some cases. So we've got rank bonuses. We have team commissions where you can earn up to 20% of your lesser legs volume every single week, which is super exciting. Again, that volume is flowing indefinitely through everybody that comes through you or anybody that came through those people and those people and those people, and the volume that's generated as well. And we've got a compensation table here that you can see that is based just on memberships. If nobody ever bought a license, just on memberships alone, the basic membership, you go get 3 people, and then you teach them to go get 3, and you're earning $87 a week, right? You go teach those, do that again, you're earning $200 a week. The goal is to get to executive producer where you're getting $500 a week. I mean, that's really life-changing income in the environment that we're currently in right now, Cory. You get to executive producer, and then as you continue to help other people to reach those ranks, you can get yourself down to ambassador, crown ambassador, some of the elite ambassadors, where we have people in our company, guys, that are generating $1 million+ a month in income. In fact, the number one, he ranges between number 1 and number 2 top earner in the world. Been with our company less than 3 years, 2.5 years, is currently inside of this company. We have over 100 of the top 500 earners in the world of network marketing in this company that's less than 3 years old. So for those of you that are wanting to build a business, I would tell you that right now, digital is where it's at. We have a product that nobody else has. We have the number 1 momentum company in the world, and we can go anywhere that blockchain is legal. So there's an excellent opportunity for those of you that are looking for a time and place or for an opportunity to be able to get started. So Cory, any final thoughts you'd like to add here before we wrap up tonight?
Yeah, I mean, I think you did a good job explaining, that last portion there, Travis. And, the only thing that I can say is, out of anything that I've ever looked at in my life, I've been in this industry for a long time. I've been 15 years, in the direct sales space, as, a C-suite executive, company owner, and a 7-figure earning distributor, and then also, being an 8-figure trader and managing portfolios and doing things like this. Out of all the opportunities I've seen to create wealth, to have them really combined into one vehicle, it's just never been done before. And at the cusp of the digital revolution that we're heading into, and with the amount of jobs that are going to get replaced by robotics and AI, I just got to say this, if you're sitting here watching this right now and you're not a part of this community, give us a shot. I mean, you don't have nothing to lose. You have literally nothing to lose. A couple $100, you know what I mean? In potential upside in your life, come and learn some new skills. You're going to have to learn them anyway. You're going to have to do something. As a plan B for most people, I say this is the best plan B you could ever have. And I'm pretty sure that this plan B will quickly become your plan A, like it did for Travis and myself.
We're grateful for the opportunity to be here with you tonight. Our Wednesday night presentations are a little longer because we want to make sure that we go into depth into the trading. We get into the nodes so that you understand a little bit more about who debt is and also the IX Global Opportunity. You know, at the end of the day, you fall into one of three categories. You're either A, somebody that wants to come in just as a member. You want to be able to start buying licenses, access some basic level education. Number two, you're somebody that's saying, hey, I like what I see here. Maybe you're going to start off with some licenses. And, you know, I like the idea of referring some people, maybe starting a digital business. Number three is, hey, look, you know, I want to start learning how to manage my money. I love the idea of starting to take control of my own financial future. I like the idea of being able to start a digital business. I want to be a part of the community. And I want that duplicating in my organization, right? Because whatever you do duplicates. So we appreciate you being here tonight. Once again, thank you so much for watching. We'll have the recording up and available here in the near future. And with that, there's a lot of great content and information out there. Get back to the person that invited you here. Let them know if you're a 1, 2, or 3, and they can help you get started here this evening. With that, thanks so much, Cory. Appreciate you.
Thanks, Travis.
Yep. We'll see
you guys.
Everyone. You guys take care. Bye-bye now.